Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. I've dyed woolen here with onion skins and I've tempered pole lathe bowl turning hooks in my oven. Well, today I'm doing something just as mad. I'm making some shoemaker's wax, sometimes called Coad, that's spelled C-O-A-D. Anyway, what's special about it is it's like beeswax excepting it's mixed with pine resin and it makes it very sticky, which makes it ideal for waterproofing threads and also for sticking them onto boar bristle needles. Yes, part of shoemaking, instead of conventional needles, you can use the bristles from a boar. So here are the ingredients: some beeswax, which you can just buy in blocks if you want to, unless you happen to keep some nice hives. I know someone who does. You then, as I say, need some pine resin. So little golden lumps here of the pine resin and a bit of tallow. Now I'm smashing up the pine resin at the moment. You can do this obviously just using a hammer, perhaps pop it in a paper bag or something, or if you have a pestle and mortar you can use that. So I'm at the moment smashing it all up and putting it in here. Ingredient wise ratio, you want roughly a third beeswax by weight to 2/3 of pine resin. So in this case something like 30 grams of beeswax to 60 grams of pine resin, and then some tallow to chuck in afterwards. I didn't have any actual tallow, but this leather polish I happen to have is so similar in terms of being like a fatty tallow. I'm going to use that and hope for the best, but you only need probably about 4 or 5 grams, no more, of the tallow. So I'm going to continue just sort of mincing up my pine resin, and then I'm going to put it all into this tin in a water jacket and hopefully melt all these ingredients on the stove. It's a good idea to use old kit with all of this, so I've got a nice old spoon here. So I'm going to try melting the wax in this old tin. So I'm just spooning in some of the resin at the moment, and I'm going to be mixing it with the wax. It's quite good, it does actually weight the tin down. Well, it's slowly melting to like a golden liquid. It's a little bit like melting toffee. It's taken a few minutes, probably about 4 minutes so far, and I'm just giving it like a stir every now and again. Well, it's going more and more liquidy at the moment, still not fully dissolved, so I'll keep stirring. But I now have a completely sort of like runny golden liquid in here. Just getting rid of the last little bits of lumps. I'm going to add the tallow, which I believe is quite a low melting point. So I'll pop that in now. Let that dissolve in. So now I've got a very dissolved golden liquid here. And I'm going to be pouring it into a bucket of water at 30 degrees. So at the moment the water temperature is just about 31, 32. So I'm quite happy with that temperature. I will pour. So straight into the water. And it's formed like a lump in there. And I'm now going to be kneading it. I think if it's too cold you get crystals. It just drops down and you get the crystals. If you get it too hot, I think then you get the crystals on the surface. It's something like that. Anyway, this feels fairly malleable at the moment. So the idea now is to constantly knead it, and to stop it sticking to your hands too much, constantly apply water. I had a bit of fallout there, but I think that doesn't feel crystally, so I'm just going to pack it in with this and keep wetting it and kneading it. And it will get a more even consistency. I think this has gone alright, it looks okay. So it looks a bit like a big ball of wax. I'm not going to, it's hotter inside, I'm not going to put my fingers in there. because I think I'd have a fair chance of burning them. But now I'm just kneading this, and I believe it will probably go a bit lighter in colour as I knead it. I'm quite pleased with that. It's looking like it's doing the job. I will, when I've got it a little bit more kneaded, sticking that like that to my hands, I'm going to put it into some smaller little balls. I'm going to roll them in my hand, try and keep my hands wet. This is where I should have laid out some greaseproof paper. So I used about 120 grams in this one of the pine resin and about 40 grams of the beeswax, very roughly. I say it's a 1:3. Well, I'd certainly recommend you wear gloves if you're doing this. I wish I had. It's really difficult to get off, which I guess is good because it actually shows it's going to do the job of holding a flax thread onto a boar's bristle needle, and it will also waterproof the flax thread and generally make it pretty stick in place as well. I'd think it's amazing stuff. It's certainly working, but anyway, I will carry on trying. I thought I'd try a bit of powder on this to try and sort of sink the powder into it to get it off my hands, and I've tried washing up liquid, which seems to work quite well. But I think it's just a matter of keep trying to sort of pull it off and then add a bit of washing up liquid or a bit of baking powder or something, corn flour, just to try and sort of sink it and stop it being sticky. But it's amazing. Well, there you are. I now have a nice bag of Coad, Shoemaker's wax, and I'll be using that in a future video for waxing threads and sticking on bristles. So you'll see when I'm making the shoes. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I should just add that the hand clean up, I found in the end just ordinary hand soap was best, and it took me probably about half an hour cleaning up. So I would be very careful if you do this to use old pans, etc., and to wear some gloves, and then like that you won't have to spend so long cleaning up. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed and want to see me using the Coad, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay then, bye bye.